Was Sly Cooper Thieves in Time really that bad? I don't know if I'm asking you or myself this question.
No!
What's up guys, Canadian Guy here, and back with another Sly Cooper video. So, Sly Cooper has quite a dedicated fan base, especially to the original trilogy. The fan favorites are usually Sly 2 and 3, with the first one trailing behind due to the innovation introduced in the following games. But when we get to Sly Thieves in Time, oof, the fan base is all over the place with this one. To be clear, the one accepted conception that most people agree with is that Sly 2 and 3 were better than Sly 4. That is maybe the only thing that I have seen generally accepted among the fan base as a whole. I'm going to be real with you guys and be upfront. I am 100% a fence-sitting flip-flopper when it comes to Thieves in Time. One day I'll sit back and think of the innovations that were added to the game and think of how awesome Sanzaru did. And another day I'll complain about it and have a strong dislike for it. My feelings are the definition of mixed. So let's sort through this mess of feelings and maybe come to some form of conclusion? Maybe? Anyway, let's get started. The graphics for Thieves in Time were fantastic. It held the cartoony vibe and still stylistically looked like a modern Sly Cooper game. This was one of the game's strengths overall. The game runs well and the environments are incredibly pretty. The cutscene animations are also the best in the franchise. They're cinematic, they're humorous, and just in general, well done. I could sit back and watch them all day. The game controls like a decent Sly Cooper game as well. It's a bit clunky at times with certain characters, but generally it feels like a solid Sly game. I would assume that most people, even those who did not like the game, in general liked the graphics and the controls were overall at least acceptable. But let's get to where things start to get weird for me. The voice acting is mixed to me. The original Sly Cooper gang all sound just fine, but outside of them, things start to degrade a little bit. Some of the ancestors sound off or feel like they're trying too hard with the voice acting, and it kind of seeps through in their voice. And why can't they just decide on one accent for Carmelita? She's French, then American, then Spanish. Can we just settle on one, please? Speaking of the ancestors, I'm about to bring up my first main issue with Sly Thieves in Time. Ryuichi Kooper and Tennessee Kid were fantastic and well-developed characters. Their combat and movement was nothing but fun. Their stories were really cool. Their worlds were fun to explore. It was just overall a blast to play these characters. They took the strengths of the Sly Cooper franchise, but added a new twist that made each of these ancestors unique. Ryuichi Kooper was acrobatic and could jump across great distances, like it was nothing, making jumping in between so much fun. Tennessee Kid had a gun for some smooth gunplay and ranged attacks, making for, again, nothing but fun. But after saving Tennessee Kid in the story, the quality of the game begins to fall. We then are introduced to Bob, a cave animal that apparently was the first Sly ancestor. Bob's gameplay is yikes. Sly Cooper draws its unique gameplay from being fast, acrobatic, and stealthy, which the initial ancestors that you play really achieved. Bob was about as stealthy as a loud excruciating fart in an elevator, and also had the acrobatic equivalency of a rock. He just ran around and clubbed things to death. He could climb on ice walls, so that kind of made him unique, but the gameplay for Bob was just really dull. Also, the music for this level sounded like it was made by a drunken mariachi band. Next up, we go to the Dark Ages and meet Sir Galeth Cooper, a brave knight with a hook sword. Now, this stage was okay-ish. So, like I mentioned, all the other Coopers had different specialties and abilities. Sir Galeth's was, well, pretty underwhelming. Basically, he can launch himself higher from a hook to hook when climbing walls, and when there's obstacles in his jumping path, he can break through them. It's not terrible, but not great either. But the main problem that this stage had was simply the plot reveal moment at the end that just made everyone confused, and don't worry, we're gonna get to that later in the video. And last, and certainly the least, we have Salem Cooper, a retired Arabian thief whose special ability is a magic carpet that works almost exactly as Sly's paraglider, and can run up poles fast with a cobra climb. A lot of these abilities that these ancestors later on show are just kind of basic. The whole feeling of the second half of the game kind of follows a pattern, like as if they were rushing it or just ran out of ideas. The plot as well suffers significantly. If you don't want spoilers, I really suggest you turn back now, as I'm about to dig into the main plot points of A Thieves in Time. The game started off great. The concept was amazing. The rules behind the time travel made, well, generic sense. The idea of needing a piece of history from a certain timeline to travel to that specific time was a great idea. The story had everything for a good time. And then, when we got to the second half of the game, it just fell off the face of the earth. The moment the plot began to die was when one of the major plot twists happened. Penelope had become Bentley's girlfriend and scientific business partner. Everything was going great between them when suddenly one day she disappeared for no reason. Bentley had been looking for her through the game, but to no avail. But suddenly, when we meet this advanced teched Black Knight, it's revealed that it's actually Penelope in the suit, and she had stolen the time machine plans from Bentley and gave them to the main villain, La Paradox, and just betrayed Bentley because he liked being a part of the Cooper gang, and because he wanted to hold his integrity and honor, she felt that he wouldn't have wanted to make billions of dollars with her by selling weapon designs to villains. Yeah, this was a plot twist that very few people liked. It was completely out of character, and we never see development of this. We were told that everything was hunky-dory between Bentley and her, and from what we saw, it showed that everything was fine. And then at a flick of a switch, Penelope becomes an evil mastermind with no development to her at all. The sheer fact that she turns on Bentley because of money literally betrays the whole point that was made about her in the previous game. She was initially attracted to Sly due to his agility and looks. However, over time, though Bentley was crippled, he still won her heart in the end, showing an extreme amount of character development in both characters. But her just going evil for the sake of going evil literally ruins her as a character and leaves Bentley looking like the punching bag to the writers. When Bentley confronts her and asks her why, she says, "I did it for you." And then he tells her she shouldn't have because it's bad. And then she tries to kill him because he doesn't understand, even though this was all for him. It doesn't make sense. Like I said, most people didn't like this story development. Now let's get to this infamous ending. The ending that I think soured fans the most about this game. We recently had gotten some explanation on it overall, but it still hasn't really fixed what happened. Sly basically sacrifices himself to take down La Paradox and gets sent to the past into ancient Egypt. We see Sly Cooper standing and looking at the pyramids, and the game ends. People hated this ending, especially because of the fact that it ended on a cliffhanger, and we have not heard anything about it since. So each year that passes, people get more and more soured to the ending. In a recent kind of funny podcast with one of the heads of Sanzaru, they actually had an extra episode planned of Sly in Egypt, but it sadly got cut. Then they planned to release it as DLC, but Sony decided against it due to the overall poor sales of Thieves in Time. This ain't just Sony's fault for not approving the DLC, because I have no idea why anyone thought that ending the game without a proper ending was a good way to end it, or then try to bundle it as a prepaid DLC. If the last mission gets cut, then alter the ending. But that's for a different rant and video. As I said, I'm a fence-sitting flip-flopper on this game. Some aspects of it is the best Sly Cooper has ever been, and others it's the worst. It feels like the first half of the game was masterfully made, and then the second half really disappointed and missed the mark. It's upsetting because the game could have easily been an instant classic. Great art style, well-made animations, and generally smooth gameplay really set this game up well. But the writing and semi-lackluster gameplay for the second half of the game is like an anchor around Sly's leg to the bottom of the ocean. I'm still undecided on my thoughts on Thieves in Time. It's kind of the definition of mixed, but what do you think? Have you decided what you think about Thieves in Time? Love it? Hate it? Same boat as me? Comment below and let me know. A huge thank you to all those who support the channel through Patreon and being a sponsor on the channel. If you'd like to help it out, check out the links in the description below, where you can buy some CGE merch or become a Patreon. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe for more gaming and nostalgic content. Thank you so much everyone, and I'll see you guys in the next video.